In this Helldivers 2 video, we're going to be breaking down the newly announced Control Group Warbond. Essentially, the premise behind this Warbond is you have been cleared to field test a range of experimental weapons built from acquired alien technology. R&D scientists have completed the Control Group Premium Warbond for deployment to your Super Destroyer. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be breaking down the PlayStation blog because they go into some more details that are not in the Warbond trailer, so that way you can better understand what we're going to be getting, as well as we're going to be randomly playing the trailer over the top for those of you that didn't see it as well. And then lastly, I'm going to give you my initial gut opinion of how the Warbond is going to be next week, basically my prediction for what I think it's going to be like. Anyways, let's talk about it. One of the first things you're going to see in the trailer is this new primary weapon called the VG70 variable. Essentially, this is a 7-barrel gun that has 3 different fire modes. We have the auto fire mode, which is basically a selectable RPM value. We have the volley mode, which is going to fire single shots from each of the barrels at once. And then we have the total, which is going to fire all the remaining ammunition in one go. And the total version actually will do that ragdoll effect that you see in the trailer as well. So this is going to be a very interesting weapon for a number of different reasons. I've always liked the attempt that Arrowhead has made with things like the railgun and weapons like that, where they've allowed us to change things up with the weapon, test out different variations of it, having different experimental things we can do with it. And I'm really excited to see what this can do. Now, what's more important is we'll see what the penetration levels are like, whether it's going to have medium pen, light pen, or what it's going to have, and whether that will change, because I know that we have something like the double-edged sickle in the game that changes its penetration level based on heating mechanics. I wonder if this one is going to change its penetration level based on fire mode. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how this weapon operates, but I'm actually pretty excited to give it a shot, as well as I'm wondering what customization options they're gonna have. Right now it only looks like scoping options from what I can see, because that's the only part that has a rail, but we'll see what we get when it actually releases. The next thing you're going to see that's going to pop up is going to be this plasma rocket launcher looking thing. Essentially, it's going to have a charge up mechanic similar to the Quasar, but it's going to have a overcharge mechanic similar to the railgun. I'm not sure if this is going to need to be toggled off or on, or if it's just active by default. We'll find out. But essentially, this is called the PLAS-45 Epoch, and this is a support weapon stratagem, which is really nice. And the little tidbit that it has here is that this weapon is ready for battlefield use, but additional research data suggests that it can explode if overcharged. So very similar to the railgun, it's going to explode if it overcharges, but this time it's actually going to kill you, because the railgun in a lot of cases is just going to explode in your hands and it's going to be unusable. And they also noted here that there is no safe mode available, which already answers my question. I feel like is going to come in an overcharge mechanic already, so you don't have a safe mode, so you're kind of running this risk of exploding every time you're using this thing if you overcharge it. Now my biggest question about it is, okay, if I overcharge it, is it just going to increase the explosion radius, or is it going to increase the damage of it? I don't know what it's going to do, but I'm very curious. This is like one of the things I'm most excited about to try. And the other thing too, I'm wondering, is there going to be like a big cooldown with this, very similar to the Quasar? Because I know right now the Quasar has a 15-second cooldown. Is this going to have like a 15-second cooldown as well, or is it going to be able to be fired as long as you kind of keep the charge under control, or is it going to have an overheat mechanic? I don't know, but we'll see what it's going to have. It's actually really interesting, and I'm wondering if it's going to be a good source of anti-tank, and if it's going to be able to do more damage to Chargers and Bile Titans, or even Factory Striders for that matter. I don't know, we'll see, but it's actually one of the things I'm most excited about from the Warbond. The next thing you're going to see is going to be the new armors, and they're pretty self-explanatory. We have light, medium, and heavy. They have the same variables in terms of the way they operate, I assume, but we'll go in more detail if they have different armor values, which I assume they don't. They're going to be pretty standard. But the big thing about the armors that's really interesting is this armor passive. It's called Adreno-Defibrillator. After you take lethal damage, the Adreno-Defibrillator detects that the user has collapsed. It activates and revives the user with full health. There is a caveat though. Even though that sounds badass that you're going to have a revive, R&D did indicate that the Adreno-Defibrillator has only enough charge for one use to bring the user back to maximum health, and the user will begin to lose health continually after activating it. Now, I don't know what that means. This basically what it sounds like is that we're going to get a free revive, but it's going to come at a side effect of us losing health afterwards. Whether this is going to be a temporary effect, or we're going to continue to lose health until we actually die, I don't know. But the initial thought of having a revive perk on an armor set is really cool. I've always enjoyed those in a lot of games where you get a free revive. That's very nice. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to be. My indication on this is that it's leaning toward more of maybe that we're going to die eventually by losing health. I don't know, but again, like that disclaimer at the end kind of makes me a little worried about it, but at the same time, just the idea of being able to revive, whether we use a portable hell bomb, whether we get randomly killed by something or any situation, is really interesting, and it's something that I can get behind because I wanted to get some more unique armor passes in the game. We also get a brand new grenade with this Warbond, and it is going to be called the G31 Arc Grenade. I have been wanting a arc grenade for so freaking long, so I'm very excited for this. I've always really enjoyed chain lightning type grenades. They're just really cool. So the tooltip for this reads that the lightweight G31 bounces and discharges electricity that strikes enemies and Helldivers in the proximity, and it didn't seem like it lasted a very long time, so I'm curious to see how many bounces we're going to actually get out of this, whether we throw it right at our feet and it's going to bounce off and actually chain longer, or whether it's going to have a proximity detonate. I don't know, but it's going to be very interesting. But it seemed like it was able to clean up a lot of enemies, so it seems like it's going to have at least medium pen. That's actually good enough, because a lot of times for my grenades, what I want is either it's a crowd control, very good like the gas grenade, or be elite at clearing. And we do need another grenade that is actually very good at being able to clear multiple enemies at once. And you can see from the example in the trailer that it seems like it has a really big crowd clearing capability. So we'll just see. But yeah, I'm very excited for an arc grenade in the game. And of course, the star of the show is of course the warp pack. This thing looks absolutely insane. It's called the Lift 182 warp pack. R&D has harnessed the power of dark fluid to generate a somewhat stable wormhole on demand. Once the wormhole is active, wearer can teleport short distances with no cooldown between jumps. In practice, the wearer is pulled into a singularity, dematerialized, and rematerialized again in a new location. The disclaimer for this reads that the head of R&D has noted that the dematerialization process can be somewhat painful, and the user should bear in mind that the wormhole cannot maintain integrity for extended periods of time. Each jump will further destabilize it, and the wearer may experience death should the singularity fully collapse. A small price to pay for ultra convenient traversal. This is super interesting. So what it says is that we don't have a cooldown between them, but it's kind of like we have a mini cooldown. It's kind of running that full risk and reward thing, meaning that we can teleport as many times as we want, but we're eventually going to die because the wormhole is going to become unstable and kill us. So really what it seems like is that we're going to be able to have some tells in game based on what we saw in the trailer. That's going to tell us when it's going to kill us the next time. So I imagine we're going to get like a few jumps out of it, which is going to be really cool in itself. And the interesting thing is that I'm curious about is, are we going to have control over how far we can go? Because it seems like we are going to have some control over how far we go. Maybe we're going to be able to indicate on the ground where we're going to go. I don't know. And then the other thing too is that how long does it take to restabilize? Is it going to be like after so many times it's going to rack it up, or is it going to actually cool down? I don't know, but I am super freaking excited to try this out. It's going to make for a much more interesting gameplay loop when we're actually playing around, some faster combat. Overall, this thing is just going to be absolutely badass. I'm really excited to try this, and if they do it well, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic, really unique thing to do in the game. And then last up is another thing that I'm very excited for, because I'm absolutely in love with laser things in the game, and that is going to be the ALAS-98 Laser Sentry. I am so excited to finally complete my all laser build, because I've been running the double-edged sickle, the laser cannon, and the laser backpack for so long, and adding this laser cannon is going to be absolutely fantastic. The blog reads that for the Sentry, the ammunition canisters on standard turrets have been replaced with a supersized heatsink, allowing for potential of infinite laser firing. However, R&D would like to remind the user that the turret can overheat and explode if it is continually active and with no cooldown. So essentially, it's like other laser weapons, but the side effect, rather than it overheating and you need to swap out the heatsink, it's just going to blow up. So I'm wondering like how long that's going to be, how long it can dissipate. That's going to be a very interesting thing to see, because if it has like a really huge heat sink, it should last for quite a while, which I'm actually pretty interested to see. The other thing too is that it seems like it's going to be based off the laser cannon, so this could have heavy penetration, which means it will be very powerful against some of the bigger units, because I've made several videos about this right now. But while it's not like an insane damage dealer, the laser cannon can pretty much kill anything in the game given some time, especially like Bile Titans and chargers and things like that, if you keep continuing to focus that area. So I'm very curious to see if it's going to have medium or heavy pen. I don't think it's going to have light pen. It just can't. If it has light pen, then it's going to be absolutely annoying. But if it has heavy or medium pen, it's going to be very good. But I'm very excited for the potential of this thing, because now I can finally live out my fantasy of having an all laser loadout, with having this, having the orbital laser. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Initial thoughts of this Warbond out the gate. This is the most excited I've been for a Warbond since they introduced the hover pack. That Warbond was really good because we got something very unique, but this Warbond is filled with tons of unique things. Are these things going to be good? I don't know, but at the same time, just for the potential of the jump pack, for the potential of the laser turret, and all the experimental weapons that we're getting that have side effects, I'm excited. This is the type of stuff I've been wanting in the game for so long, because I'm tired of weapons that are pretty lackluster or they're very gimmicky, just going in the pile. These weapons are either going to be absolutely insane or have the potential to be insane in the future. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying the potential of what these weapons could do. I'm most excited again for the plasma rocket launcher. That looks really cool. I'm excited to do an all laser build, excited to try that armor passive, because finally having a revive armor passive is going to be very interesting. And then even the primary looks very interesting from all the fire modes and all the things you can do with it. Overall, again, just from a concept, this is by far one of the most unique and my favorite Warbonds in terms of concept. How it will play when we actually get the content, I don't know, but at this particular moment, I am extremely excited for this particular Warbond. Anyways, that's my full thoughts and a mini breakdown of all the things that are in the Control Group Warbond. Let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comments below. Let me know what you're excited for from this Warbond and what things you're maybe kind of lukewarm on. I'm curious to see your comments in terms of what you think about the Warbond. But anyways, make sure you like and subscribe for more content similar to this. But anyways, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.